Imagine if you could sit in a room with the likes of Nikola Tesla, the Wright brothers, or Da Vinci. Absorb their experiences, extract their wisdom on what it takes to be a great engineer. In this video, I'm going to share 9 lessons from 9 of the most successful engineers in the industry today. People who redefined what it means to be an engineer in the 21st century. This is a recap of Reflect 2023. Reflect 2023 was a conference held at the Engineering and Design Institute in London, aimed at bringing together young people from ethnically diverse backgrounds and exceptional role models from the engineering and technological world. Because in the 21st century, the most successful engineers aren't just all one race or one gender. With a lineup of amazing speakers from all walks of the industry, there were tons of insights and stories to take forward, and in this video I'm going to be sharing 9 of them. The conference started off with the host George Imafidon introducing the event. George is an award-winning engineer who grew up coming from a rough background in Peckham, but pushed through and made history by founding a company called Motives, which is now dedicated to supporting young people from underrepresented backgrounds to get into STEM. He's also an engineer on Lewis Hamilton's electric race team X44, and was named Young Engineer of the Year in 2022, some amazing achievements. So here's lesson 1, stay true to yourself. The first lesson I took from the conference came from a guy called Mohammed Taher. Known as the airport guy on social media, Mo has amassed more than 250 million views for his videos on aerospace engineering and his job at Heathrow Airport as an aerodrome systems specialist. Now he's making the leap to full-time content creation, inspiring the next generation of engineers. In his talk, Mo discussed his experience of growing up trying to fit in with friends at school, making himself out like something he wasn't so he could get some validation. Supporting football teams when he had absolutely no interest in football, and hiding his true passion for aerospace and all things space related.
All of a sudden I found myself in a position where I joined the team. Every single playtime I'm having to support Man United, a team I actually don't care about. I started to build up this wall of who I was. I started to build up this wall of trying to be cool to other people. But I used to know myself. I used to go back home and I used to binge watch YouTube videos about the International Space Station, about helicopters, about how all this stuff is working, but I would never talk about this stuff in school, right? I mean, no one thinks it's cool, everyone's out here trying to learn all these players and talk about all this cool stuff, so I'll just hide that part of me at home, I just sweep under the carpet, and I just hide it, but deep down I knew what I loved.
He went on to talk about mentioning his passion to his family and then getting immediately shut down just because they were all Muslim.
I thought to myself, you know what, I want to get into aerospace. I want to be an aerospace engineer. Went to one of my uncles, and you know the question, what do you want to be when you're older? I was like to him, I want to be an aerospace engineer. And he goes to me, Mohammed, listen, you're Muslim, you're Arab, you're about to grow a beard one day. They don't hire Muslims in aviation. Listen, you could be a dentist, a doctor, you could be a pharmacist, you could be all these stable careers. Just aviation, they won't hire me.
But he pushed through anyway and went on to get work experience, confirming within himself that this was something he actually wanted to do.
I was absolutely devastated because that was all I really cared about. I didn't really care about anything else. But I decided to stick with it. I remember my brother-in-law got me a little bit of work experience, a 1-day tour of like this aerospace company called Marshall up north near Cambridge, and literally just by me seeing what was in this industry, like actually experiencing what it was, I was like, you know what? I don't care what my uncle says, I'm being an aerospace engineer. Literally, I walked out that day thinking that.
None of that would have happened if he didn't strive to be his authentic self and do what he wanted no matter what anyone else said. I think loads of us stop ourselves from pursuing the things that we actually want simply because we're always thinking about what other people will think. But Mo taught me life is just too short for that. Lesson number 2, if you don't see the change, be it. This one came from Cristina Rampiari, another award-winning chartered engineer and STEM ambassador who works as an engineering team lead while managing a small business called Aviator, which makes badges like these to help people understand the diversity of what engineers can actually look like. And actually, that was what stuck with me from her talk. Christina grew up going through school and university not seeing enough role models that actually looked like her. But rather than taking that as a negative, she actually went against the grain, making an entire business around showing people that being an engineer means so much more than the color of your skin or your gender. It doesn't mean wearing a hard hat or going around and fixing people's cars, it's so much more than that.
I used to tell people I was an engineer that you don't look like one, to which I was like, what does an engineer look like? Obviously, no. So this inspired me to start a career badge business. So this is what an engineer looks like.
And so with all her work, she proved that even if you don't see someone out there doing what you want to do, you can go and be the change, be that innovator for the next generation, and show people what it is that actually drives you. Lesson number 3, use your passions to direct your career. Listening to Amma Frimpong, who was named the 2022 Young Woman Engineer of the Year and Top 50 Women in Engineering, I learned what it really meant to use your passions to drive your career. Amma grew up moving around a lot with her family. Her mum was a nurse who would practice in the UK and Ghana, and she grew up loving the aspect of helping people become better versions of themselves.
We used to have a pharmacy shop where people would come to us and they'd come and tell us what was wrong with them and prescribe them a little drug. And I was a child, so I sat in the back, but I'd see it. I thought that was what I wanted to do. I thought my thing for the world is people. I wanted to make the health better. I wanted to help people be better versions of themselves, improve their health, that kind of thing.
Initially, she thought she found her calling through medicine, but then found out she could meld that passion with her interest in science and maths and become a biomedical engineer.
I lived in Ghana, I'd seen malaria, cholera, all the things, and I said to myself, this is what I want to do for the world. What I did not realise is that I can do that through engineering.
Now she spends her career at the forefront of healthcare innovation, with a PhD in medical and biological engineering, making devices that help identify cancer patients at risk of life-threatening emergencies. Her main message was to develop an interest, something that drives you, and use that to find out where you want to go in your career.
My first message for you, and I know Mo and Christina talked about this, is find an interest, a compass, something that drives you. Is it motorsport? Is it aerospace? For me, it was people, their health.
Lesson number 4. Fall in love with the problem, because the solution will always change. Founder of the Washing Machine Project, a company focused on building life-saving home appliances for communities all across the world, Navjot Soni was always passionate about helping others. After studying aerospace engineering and then moving on to work at Dyson, he found out that his true calling was elsewhere.
I got to make these really fancy products. These products are £500, £600. And we used to spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours a day to make these vacuum cleaners more efficient. That all I was doing was making a vacuum cleaner for a rich person. I wasn't passionate about sucking up dust.
He moved to South India, and seeing the struggle that rural communities, especially women, faced with the struggle of lacking basic home appliances like washing machines, he vowed to help and began developing prototypes for mechanical devices that would help without electricity.
We started prototyping and building these prototypes, and these kind of iterations and iterations and iterations later, we have what we have in front of us today, which is a bigger washing machine.
I even managed to get a demo from one of the company interns, Joshua, who showed me exactly how they worked.
Water, your detergent in there, goes up, spin it for 2 minutes, and then you let it soak for about 10 minutes, do it again for 2 minutes, let it soak, and then you let the water out with something in it.
The core insight I took from Navjot was that he fell in love with the problem he was trying to solve, rather than the actual solution he was developing. By striving to improve the lives of poverty-stricken communities, he went on to build something that improved the lives of families all across the globe. Lesson number 5. Strive to be the person you wish you knew when you were younger. Biftu Abagodu is an Ethiopian German-born mechanical engineer who did a master's at the University of Leeds in automotive engineering, and went on to win the IMechE Best Project Award for her chassis design for the Leeds Griffin racing team. She's worked at McLaren and is now a mechanical design engineer for the Mercedes F1 team, competing in the America's Cup, the oldest sporting competition in the world. As a STEM ambassador, she became an advisory board member for RC Vision, a social venture focused on using radio-controlled cars to bridge the diversity gap in STEM. But the biggest success for her was becoming someone who she would have admired when she was younger. Someone who could support her to get into a career in engineering and show that it was actually possible.
Coming from Tottenham, a girls' school, very diverse, surrounded by girls in STEM, to then being at Leeds train station, realising this is it, and sitting on a course of 200 other people and being the only black girl in that room, it made me realise that I have to do something about it. Even if it's just me as one person, I have to do something in order to make sure that I can be the person I wish I had when I was at that stage in my life.
Amongst all of the talks at this event, this seemed to be a key theme, that in an industry where there's such an imbalance in gender and ethnicity, where only 17% of engineers are female and only 1% are black, The biggest thing that young engineers today can do is show that actually there's a lot more diversity out there than people think. Lesson number 6, build a community around you. For anyone that's seen this video, James was the guy supporting the operation of all of the electronics in the F1 car, making sure they were how they should be for that video. With 12 years of experience in automotive and motorsport, he's worked alongside people like Kevin Magnussen, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, but now leads Driven by Us, using his expertise to develop the first ethnic minority community club to be recognised by Motorsport UK. According to his own experience, mentoring was fantastic for him. Sometimes you need a coach, a supporter, someone to advocate for you to help you get to where you need to go. Which is why he really emphasised building a community of people around you as you move through your career, who can actually support you in everything you do and guide the way for you. And when that happens, it actually doesn't matter how long it takes you to get where you want to go, because with the amount of people around you, it's well worth it when you do.
In terms of takeaways, what I can recommend is definitely mentorship. Mentoring has been fantastic for myself and my progression. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. As long as you get there, it's fantastic.
Lesson number 7. Make the most of every opportunity. Joseph De Silva is the Chief Information Security Officer at RS Group, and actually started with an honours degree in biochemistry before realising that his true passion was for cybersecurity. Some of his biggest takeaways are about employability, to make the most of every opportunity, no matter the industry or the field. Whether that's through talking to colleagues at a company who you've never talked to before, or learning all you can and putting yourself forward for new projects. Lesson number 8. Develop an understanding of tech. Veena Kumari grew up with a love for IT and technology. Studying software engineering and computer hardware, she went on to become a group network and security engineer. Now she works on mission critical systems to provide 24/7 service and keep systems safe from cyber attacks. And she was even a finalist for the IET's 2022 Women in Engineering Award. Walking us through her school journey, she told us of a gap year, working part-time and doing everything she could to get her hands on technology.
And I found a course called Computer Hardware and Software Engineering at Coventry University. Now this encompassed fundamental engineering maths, computer hardware, software engineering, programming, network engineering, robotics, electronic systems. So it was like a really broad course that touched on many things. And I thought that sounds like a good opportunity for me to try to figure out exactly what I want to do, and maybe that can help me to make an informed decision for what I want to actually be in the future.
In a world where there's a cyber attack every 39 seconds, she really understood the importance of tech. It's 2023 now, and the influence of technology has grown exponentially, which makes it so important for young engineers to learn everything they can about tech. Lesson number 9. Believe in yourself even if nobody else does. One of the final talks of the event was from Hayley Melenda, a multi-award winning international speaker, author and change agent who grew up in East London and went on to speak to tens of thousands of people across the world, sharing her story of how she turned her pain to purpose. Growing up, she told us about how her aspirations were really low purely because she didn't see any representation from people that looked like her.
I'm from East London, born and raised. I'm from Ends, innit? So I'm from Ends, what's my need, chicken and chips, all that stuff. I was the type of person that I never actually had much aspirations in my life. For me, my aspirations were so low because I didn't have representation.
But she realised how mental health issues were increasingly affecting the younger generations, including herself, and was passionate to make a change about it. She used her voice to empower people and found out that was actually her true calling. It was really easy to tell how great she was at speaking because there were so many laughs and insightful moments in this talk. But the biggest thing I took from it was to champion what you're doing, even if no one else will.
But for me to believe in my voice, to believe in my calling, to believe in my purpose, more than my mom's knows, my friends knows, is more important than anything else. And I really do believe the only way that you're going to be able to fly is if you believe in yourself. You can't expect the world to follow you and everyone else to follow you if you don't really believe in yourself.
This event was amazing. There were so many lessons to take away from it. But I hope these 9 lessons have inspired you and given you some direction for your career. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.